Transferral by Kate Blair, Chapter 4. Penthouse Flat, Bankside, London. 20 days left. The clouds are low over London, grey blobs that look as heavy as the concrete colored Thames below. From the window of our penthouse, it's as if I could reach up and touch them. I imagine how they would feel. Cold sponges. Rain will soon fall on the city. Fall on the traffic snarled up on Bridgework Bridge, fall on Bankside Pier, fall and disappear into the Thames. I miss our old house in Notting Hill, the people I knew there. We couldn't stay in that house, couldn't sleep in that space, haunted by such violence and regret. I find myself back in Mum and Dad's bathroom, wishing I'd moved faster, remembering how I'd let my sister die. On afternoons like this, I drift around like a ghost myself. I try to read a book, try to do some online coursework for my A levels, but can't concentrate. The floor to ceiling windows mean our home reflects the weather, capturing and amplifying its mood. The cream furniture is cast in gray, the white walls darkened. The buzz of the lock signals my father returns home. I head for the door as a voice erupts into the flat. Piers. I can tell by the outrage in his tone and the clack of his cane. Conrad has been bandying about. Sorry, let me try that again. Conway has been bandying about that old crap about harsh sentencing and unnecessary recalls to cut waiting lists. But some criminals are immune to virtually everything. So we need to provide more of a deterrent. And behind Piers is, Dad, I say as he enters. Darling. Dad drops his briefcase and runs to hug me. Allison enters behind him, and I stiffen. She gives me a patronizing grin as she picks up his stuff. I turn away from her and bury my head in my father's shoulder. I missed you, I say quietly, so that the others won't hear. Dad squeezes me and whispers in my ear, I missed you too. Then he pulls away, unbuttons his long black coat, and hangs it up. Are you hungry? He asks. We should order sushi. It's still your favorite, right? We're celebrating. Excitement jolts through me. You found her? Dad tilts his head. Who? Oh, the girl. He walks to his office, an alcove separated from the main room by a large bookcase. No, sorry. Allison catches my eye, but I look away quickly. She follows Dad in like a puppy, thumps his briefcase down on his desk, clicks it open, and pulls out some papers with colored bar graphs on them. Look, Talia, these are the latest poll numbers. She spreads the papers on the desk. Dad walks around them, straightening the sheets. That's his version of uncontrollable excitement. I glance down. All the big names are there. Ipsos, Maury, Angus Reid, YouGov, and they're all saying the same thing. I look up and into my father's beaming face. We're neck and neck with Sebastian Conway, Allison says. I ignore her and give Dad another hug, squeezing his skinny frame. This is what he wants more than anything. You're finally getting through to people. When I release him, he ruffles my hair. I have you to thank for this. Your heroics have gotten a lot of attention. There's a swell in my chest. We're a team, I say. Pierce starts tidying the papers. It's only neck and neck. There are margins for error, and we shouldn't be jinxing it by celebrating. Oh, take that stick out of your arse, Pierce, Allison says. Let us have this one. I trail a finger along the edge of the desk. I need to talk to Dad alone, but these days I never get a chance. He catches my expression. And what do you want? You said you'd help me find the girl. Talia, I've tried, and you've tried, on national TV, no less. But we haven't found her. That means she probably doesn't want to be found. Remember on the news when that child was kidnapped right outside the Barbican by the pedophile ring? What if she's in danger? Piers stiffs. I don't get why this is so important to you. She's probably a criminal. She's a child. She can't be more than 10. Talia. Dad sinks into his seat, and I notice the dark circles under his eyes. Piers keeps talking. She was there, alone. We would have found her by now if she had been there innocently. She was probably picking pockets. She may be under a recall and trying to go off the grid in case of a pandemic. When your father and I were lawyers, we saw a lot of children her age coming through the courts. Then she needs to be taken into care. She should be raised by people who look after her properly. If she's picking pockets now, what will she be when she's older? Dad shakes his head. When they're raised to crime, there's not much we can do. But once we have the right policies in place, this country will be safer. We'll help more than one child that way. I bite my lip. This is going to be a hard sell. There's someone else we can ask about where she is, I mean. His brows furrow. Who? The man with the cleaver. When I saw the CCTV, it looked like she was waving at him. He might know where to find her. I want to speak to him. Talia. Dad stands and walks into the sitting room, forcing me to follow him. That's out of the question. But we have to find her. He turns around and clutches my arms, making me look into his eyes. I've almost lost you to criminals twice, Talia. I cannot risk losing you. You are everything to me. Quarantine is safe. There's tons of guards and security. Pierce's voice chimes in from behind me. It would look bad, consorting with sick people, I mean, especially ones in quarantine. I keep facing Dad. It would only take a letter from you, permission from the inmate or a MP, right? I would never send you into that kind of place. End of conversation. I slump down on the couch. Dad sighs. Can't we have a relaxing night? How can we have a relaxing night with his staff here? I have to do something this time. Dad joins me on the couch, putting his arm around me. You did do something. You saved her. And you can't keep blaming yourself for what happened 4 years ago. Thomas Bryce was insane, a criminal. You were only 12, and if you'd done any more, I might have lost you too. His eyes go to where my scar lies, hidden by my hair, and he swallows. I shake my head. This isn't about that. I should have followed the girl out of the hospital. Should have checked she was okay. Allison wanders into the room and sits down on the couch next to me. She places a cold hand on my arm. You stayed and waited for the police. It was the right thing. I shift so she's no longer touching me. I saw the footage, Talia, Dad says. I know how this must affect you. When I saw the girl, I thought, my father is rarely lost for words, so I turn to him. His eyes glisten. I don't want him to say any more. So I lean over and hug him. He squeezes me tightly to him. If there's anything I could do to bring her back, to bring both of them back, he speaks in a whisper. After a long moment of silence, he straightens up and releases me. But we'll save other families once we're in power. And this girl is not Rebecca. He smooths his beard. Why don't you come to Parliament tomorrow? It's the last day before it'll be adjourned for the election. You can do your coursework while we're in the Commons, and I'll get to see more of you that way. Malcolm, Piers interjects. It's going to be a busy day. I'll come. I'll stay out of the way when you need me to. It would be nice to spend a bit of time with Dad, even if I'd be alone in his office for most of the day. His office. Alone. An idea forms in my mind. I'd have to I'd have access to his letterhead, to his printer. Dad might not want me to go to the quarantine, But that's only because he's overprotective. He'd be happy to know that the girl was okay too. I saw his face when he talked about her. Saw saw he was as moved as I was. It would be so easy.